जी उदय.
That's the reality of what we're dealing with. Now, the big question is a huge one. Okay, something has gone wrong. Something dramatically has gone wrong. It has gone wrong in an aircraft that does not have a serious history of crashes, in a relatively new aircraft, in clear weather and clear skies, in the middle of the afternoon, in a very well equipped state of the art airport with a very large runway. Something has gone wrong. Now, what we have witnessed is going to be one of the worst, if not the worst, air tragedy. The last one we are talking about, of course, is 96 when I was still in school. So it's the worst in 30 years, probably one of the worst in the history of India, because I'm sure there are fatalities or casualties on the ground as well in the number of lives lost, and it will be one of the worst in the history of the world. Something very dramatic has gone wrong. So before I take you through the sequence of what we can tell has happened, let's give you an update of what is currently taking place on the ground. Information that is coming to us suggesting, of course, that yes, indeed, the Home Minister is there, the Civil Aviation Minister is there, trying to figure out what has happened. At some point of time, we will get information whether they managed to recover the flight data recorders. At some point of time, we have to get information on what that last conversation with the ATC was, which will tell some of the story at least. Professor Madhav Nalapat is joining us on the broadcast. Professor Nalapat, I have to ask you the very difficult and not easy to answer with the limited information that you and I have kind of question, that in a eventuality like this, which might just be an accident, it could well be that somebody was not doing their job properly and something was wrong with the aircraft, it wasn't detected and something went wrong, or it could be something malified. Sometimes accidents are more than meets the eye. How do we go about deconstructing which is which?
Well, as you correctly said, the black box recorder is key to that. And once it is read, presumably accurately and correctly, the results are conveyed, then we'll have a clearer picture. But judging from my experience of Air India, it's unlikely to be pilot error because Air India is some of the most experienced pilots in the world and they're used to flying abroad. So that leaves the possibility of a multiple engine failure, not able to generate sufficient lift after V1. As you know, Rishabh, V1 is the speed at which a takeoff is essential. You cannot not take off. So somehow after that, the aircraft failed to lift off, and as a result, it veered and crashed. Now that is one hypothesis that could be there. And of course, I mean the engine failing exactly at the point of V1. It's a very it will be a very unusual occurrence. But I think Rishabh, we should be careful not to trigger a panic about one or the other situation. I well remember, for example, that in the Bangalore there was a crash involving an aircraft, a lot of which had been purchased by Air India at that time. And as a panic reaction, the then government headed by VP Singh, basically